I wanted to establish a post-secondary education model on the campus because I realized that there's a high need for this population of students in Massachusetts or throughout the country. The 18 to 22-year-olds who have peers that have graduated high school and have gone on to a college or future plans beyond high school, it leaves this population of students back at the high school where I don't feel they belong. I feel that if given the opportunity to come to a college campus and experience college life as best we can for them, they will thrive on campus, and they will just, they'll learn social skills, they'll excel academically, and I just think it's a fantastic program for this population and actually well needed in the country.
I was very interested in an inclusive concurrent enrollment program for the campus at UMass Boston for several reasons. One is I used to work in K through 12 education, and I realized that students who were in special education, who were in that transition point to adulthood from 18 to 22, did not have a lot of options within the high school program at the time. And they, were seeing their peers going off to college. And I was interested to hear that there are now efforts to look at that transition time, and was very happy to hear that there was something like an inclusive model being proposed out there. And there are just lots of other reasons. Those of us who've been to college know that a lot of learning goes on outside the classroom, and it just seemed like a perfect opportunity to offer kids with intellectual disabilities the opportunity to pursue some of their interests and to also socialize and to, have their horizons expanded. I've also had parents who've called me telling me that, siblings, that they have a child with an intellectual disability and they're seeing their siblings going off to college. So it's a time when kids are thinking about post-secondary education. So having UMass, which has a mission, our college has a mission of inclusion, it just seemed like a natural next step.
I did anticipate challenges when I started this initiative here at Bridgewater State University, because this is something that, as far as I know, it's out of the norm, at least in Massachusetts. And to the best of my knowledge, there weren't any other four-year institutions that had this type of program in Massachusetts. I did think that there were some programs going on throughout the country, but I did anticipate challenges because anytime there's something new and outside the box, you're going to hit some roadblocks.
We have a very complicated system here at the university, and so I anticipated that a program like this would be tapping into many different departments and offices. So I saw a challenge in terms of just negotiating all of the various offices that the university presents. And I did expect that there would be some questions and some skepticism around implementing a program such as this.
The first thing I wanted to try to do is, when I heard about the program, was speak to the Dean of the College of Education and Allied Studies to make sure that I had her backing with the program before I proceeded to get other folks involved on campus. And when she gave me her word that she would support me and back the program, then I went ahead and talked to some folks in the Academic Achievement Center with Disability Services, Student Affairs, and I got some real kickback from upper administration, just because the programs knew they weren't really sure about the population of students, and our Disability Services department was already understaffed, and we had several traditional students on campus that needed help from them.
So to avoid any misunderstandings, I spent some time meeting with leadership across campus and informing them of our plans. I would say the vast majority all were very positive and very supportive of the program. There were little pockets of skepticism, but I then decided, we were fortunate to have a planning grant spend some time really thinking through how we would implement this program to maintain its inclusive nature. I didn't want to replicate special education in the university. I knew, first of all, that that wasn't a model to pursue and that that would also meet with resistance. So having the luxury of a little bit of time to plan, I was able to make contact with leadership and gain the support of leadership for the various offices that I thought we would tap into.
I did identify allies early on, and my bigger supporters from the get-go was the Dean of the College of Education and Allied Studies, but I also reached out to the Associate Director of the Academic Achievement Center, and he fully supported the program and actually was helped me out considerably as we moved forward in getting folks on board and kind of putting some of the administrators here their minds at ease, saying that we do have full support from which would be our partner school districts.
Well, I asked to meet with deans and vice chancellors of various undergraduate offices. For instance, the Dean of Student Services, Student Affairs, the people who are involved in our pre-collegiate programs at a higher administration level, like vice chancellor or provosts, enrollment management, people who deal with the types of students that, or deal with issues of enrolling students in our classes. So I met with all of those administrators and then worked with the various offices that were under their administration and leaders within those offices, like student advising, the Ross Center for Disability Services, any particular, the Career Services Office, working with people that I thought would need to interact with our students enrolled in the ICE program.
There were several meetings that occurred before the university actually bought into the program. One of the major factors for me, which helped me considerably, was we got the backing of the president of Bridgewater State University, Dr. Molifaria. He understood that this population needed this type of program, and with him on our side, it really brought forth the other folks to come on board. We started off small. We wanted to make sure that we ran a quality program. So even though I wanted to have maybe a dozen students start, we actually cut that in half and went down to 6 students in the beginning, just to make sure that the folks that bought in were convinced that this program was needed and was going to work.
And one of the big reasons that our program has been so successful is that our wonderful faculty has been very supportive of the program. They are accommodating, as they should with Ross Center accommodations, Disability 504 accommodations, and I think because they see themselves as teachers of all students, have really been supportive of having our students enrolled. So they have been, I think, a huge reason for the success of the program. And I think having had the opportunity to meet with people across campus, they're aware of what we're trying to accomplish here, and so were supportive, could contact me or other people who have been involved in the program if they had any questions.
Every year there's a what we call a CART celebration. One of our departments on campus, every year we have faculty and staff do presentations. It's every May after the students are done with classes. I presented in front of some faculty and staff members about the success of the ICE program during our first semester here at Bridgewater. And I did show some film clips of students in the classrooms, and one of the students was actually interviewed, and she talked about how the ICE program and the course at Bridgewater helped her find a paying position in a daycare center that she always dreamed about working at, and she never ever thought it was going to be a reality. The faculty were impressed by the presentation. I wasn't the only person who presented. I did have some school district personnel present with me, and they talked about the school district's perspective with the program and how it was incredibly successful for the students, that when they were at their IEP meetings at the high school, their transition meetings, that it was amazing how much the students had flourished from the time they stepped on campus in the start of the spring semester until May, and that was only 3 or 4 months of being on campus.
I've sought support from people who have had experience with the program and tried to be a support to the people here on campus. And again, it's been negotiating among a number of offices because that's the only way inclusion can really work. I would just suggest they follow the steps I did in terms of being open about the program, of contacting key stakeholders within the university so that everyone is aware of the program, and also broadcasting its success. I certainly have kept administrators informed of the changes we've seen in students and the positive impact that having the students here on campus has made. And certainly we've had the support early on from the provost and the chancellor, and those are two people I keep informed about the success of the program as well.
Yes, I do have suggestions for other folks in universities who want to replicate this program. They really need to keep moving forward, show compassion, and don't give up. Just because they're told from maybe an administration within the university that this probably won't work, the faculty won't buy into it, they will. The program here at Bridgewater, initially, we did get some kickback once we got started and the students went to classes with our traditional students and the faculty had these students in the classroom. It was phenomenal. The program is fantastic. You saw the students from the beginning of the academic year in September come on campus a little bit nervous, and by the time the end of the year celebration happened in May, when they had taken a couple of classes and gone through and met with their peer mentors and done some activities on campus, it was amazing. The transition you saw from September to May was unbelievable. So anybody who's listening to this film clip at this time that's looking at starting a program, just keep going, show compassion. You will eventually get buy-in from the folks on campus.
So it's really not been all that special. It's just kind of anticipating the needs of these students as we do with all the freshmen and making sure there's some supports in place.